Barry Loser's Book of KEEL Stuff. Written by robots controlled by Jim Smith. Meet the losers. Color me in. Name, Barry Loser. Keelness level, V.Keel. Catchphrase, KEEL. Job, being KEEL. Name, Bunky. Keelness level, high. Catchphrase, salute. Job, Barry's sidekick. Name, Nancy Verkenwerken. Keelness level, quite keel. Cat's name, Gregor Verkenwerken. Job, working stuff out for Barry. Name, Darren Darrenofsky. Keelness level, medium. Favorite drink, Frankel. Job, burping in faces. Name, Sharonella. Keelness level, average. Fancies, Barry Loser. Job, being bossy. Name, Anton Mildew. Keelness level, loserish. Best friend, Invis. Job, editor, The Daily Pooh. Name, Gordon Smugly. Keelness level, unkeel. Cat's name, Spencer. Job, being all smug. Name, future rat boy. Keelness level, keel. Catchphrase, keel. Job, super duper hero. Name, not bird. Keelness level, key heel. Catchphrase, not. Job, future rat boy's sidekick. Design your own Frankel. When my daughter Jim Smith was my age, he had a KEEL collection of soft drink cans from all over the world. That's why he invented the drink Frankel and put it in my books. Now make up a new flavor of Frankel and design a can for it. Draw an elephant or don't. Hold this page up to the light. You are a loser. How to draw a loser. Here's what you'll need. A pencil. A hand. Some eyes. 1. Always start with eyes, they're the easiest bit. 2. Add a nose next, make it massive. 3. Now draw some hair, like brackets, then round off the head. 4. Ear. 5. Square body. 3 fingers instead of 5, quicker to draw. 7. Little legs. 6. Arm and fingers. 8. Eyebrows, anyone? 9. 3 teeth pleasypoos. 10. Here are some ways to give your characters feelings, just with eyebrows. Now get a mirror 20 and draw yourself. Loser fact. In my first book, Granny Harumpedunk bumps into her friend Ethel, whose feet are too fat for her sandals. Ethel's feet are based on Jim Smith's dinner lady's feet from when he was a kid. Test your loserish memory. In I Am So Over Being a Loser, my yellow book, me and my friends all start collections. Can you remember who collected what? A. Ring pulls. B. Jewelry. C. Rulers. D. Sweets. E. Boring old tea towels. F. KEEL napkins. G. Stamps. Darren spot the no-nose difference. Darren Darrenofsky's has fallen off. Can you remember which one is his? Draw it back quick so he can smell his blow-off. Can you spot the difference between these two pictures of not bird? Dog poos. There are lots of dog poos in my books, mostly because dog poos are disgusting and KEEL. Here are some extra weird ones for you to enjoy. Person stuck in poo. Now do your own. Drawing, not poo. Loser fact. You know Mrs. Trumpet Face from my blue book, I Am Not a Loser? Well, she was a real person who lived down Jim Smith's road when he was a kid. She was always shouting at him and his friends like a trumpet. That's why they called her Mrs. Trumpet Face. Who Bunky is based on. My best friend Bunky is based on Jim Smith's best friend when he was a kid. He was called Ben, and he was always round Jim's house. During the summer holidays, Ben turned up round Jim's house so early every morning that Jim was usually still in bed. Not that that bothered Ben. Jim's mom would let him in, and he'd make himself at home, watching TV and having a spot of breakfast. When Jim finally got up and came downstairs, he'd get all annoyed to find Ben sitting on his sofa, living Jim's life. So he'd send him home. Jim would calm down after about 20 minutes and call Ben up, ordering him to come back round to play. Which is sort of how I act with Bunky in my books. Talking of Bunky, here's a little story about me getting annoyed with him for being really annoying. Enjoy Keels. Bunky is a loser. Saturday morning poo. I could tell it was the weekend when I woke up, because my dad had done his extra smelly Saturday morning poo, then tried to cover it up with aftershave, and the whole of the upstairs of my house completely stank of poo and aftershave. I wrapped a pillow round my head and rolled out of bed. I crawled along the floor to the stairs and got into the pillowcase, then slid down on my bum, doing a blow-off on each bounce. When I got to the bottom, my best friend Bunky was watching Future Rat Boy on TV in the living room, which didn't surprise me because he's round my house more than he's round his. "Pooey, what's that stink?" he said. "You," I said, and I spun the chair he was sitting on, which is one of those ones you can twizzle round. The twizzle. "Wahhhhhhh," screamed Bunky, his cereal flying off in every direction, including my mouth. The cereal was in the shape of UFOs, so they looked pretty cool as they whizzed through the air and landed dew on my tongue, and I imagined the little aliens inside being crushed to death as I chomped. Weirdly, the episode of Future Rat Boy that was playing on TV had UFOs in it as well, so I said, "Let's play UFOs." And we ran up to my room, which still stank a bit, although that is pretty normal. "Alien attack," shouted Bunky 990, throwing a remote control car and at my head the millisecond we got into the room. "Ow," I girl screamed, and I picked up the car by its aerial and started swinging it like a lasso. Because I was spinning round too, all I could see was the little car on the end of its aerial, all its doors flung open from how fast it was going. "Watch out," shouted Bunky, as the car slipped out of my hand and flew towards the jar that sits on my bedside table where I've been collecting all my toenails and bogies since I was about naught. N00000. I screamed as it cracked open and the sky in my room filled up with little toenail-shaped moons and bogey-colored planets. "Look what you've done now," I shouted, and one of the bogies landed on my tongue and I ate it. Foot scrape. I picked up the remote control car and faced it towards Bunky, driving it full speed towards his ankle. Because the whole carpet was covered in toenails and bogies though, the car was skidding everywhere and it ended up going between his stupid legs. "Ha ha," he laughed. "I'm bored of this, I'm gonna watch Future Rat Boy." And he turned round and started walking downstairs like he owned the place, which he doesn't, I do. "Oh no you don't, young man," I said, marching after him in my bare feet, using my toes like fingers to collect bogies and nail clippings from the carpet. Bunky was already back in the twizzle seat watching Future Rat Boy when I got downstairs. "Watch this," I shouted, scraping the bottom of my foot down his face. "Errrrgggghhh, get off me," he screamed, grabbing my ankle and end flipping me onto the carpet, which could have killed me, so I did a massive groan and pretended to die right there and then on the spot. "For crying out loud, what's going on in there?" shouted my mum from the kitchen. "Barry's bullying me," shouted Bunky. "Barry, stop bullying Bunky," shouted my dad. "Right, that's it," I screamed, coming back to life and standing up. I glanced at the TV and saw Future Rat Boy throwing a baddie through a window. "Get out!" I shouted, dragging Bunky to the front door and pushing him into the road. "And don't come back!" being bored all on my own. After that I watched the rest of Future Rat Boy, then got dressed and picked up all the bogies and fingernails off my bedroom carpet, then went back downstairs to see what was happening. What was happening was that my mum was watching a black and white film with a cup of tea and a biscuit, and my dad was in the back garden carrying paving stones around with his tongue sticking out and his face all red. I walked straight to the phone and dialed Bunky's number. "Go," said Bunky's voice, which is how we both answer the phone because that's how Future Rat Boy does it. "Get over here right now," I shouted, then I hung up. 5 minutes later. "Arrgggghh," screamed my dad, dropping a paving stone on his foot, and my mum rushed out to give him a cup of tea and a cuddle. Which was good, because it meant the TV was free for us to start watching Future Rat Boy again when Bunky arrived. "Sandwich?" I said, getting up and bumping past his chair so it twizzled round to face the wall. I chuckled to myself and patted Bunky on the head, glad to have my best friend back, even though he is the most annoying person in the whole entire world, amen. "Ooh, yes please," said Bunky, and I walked into the kitchen, making us both a sandwich. Mine with cheese and pickle in it, and his with toenails and bogies. The end. Thank you for reading my short story. Please don't feed your best friend a toenail and bogey sandwich next time you see them. Freaky Daily Ficos. Arg! All the stuff in Fico's supermarket has gone invisible. Draw it back on the shelves, and make it disgusting like Bunky's toenail and bogey sandwich. Anton Mildew from my class is the editor of our school newspaper, the Daily Pooh. Here's a few pages from one issue. Printed on recycled toilet paper, not. The Daily Pooh. Edited by Anton Mildew. Invisible friend goes missing. Face Snoggles reports the invisible best buddy of Daily Pooh editor Anton Mildew has vanished. 1 minute he was there, the next he wasn't, whimpered Mildew, pointing at the bit of air next to him. Mildew, describing his see-through sidekick as always there for me, has asked the public to keep their eyes peeled for a floating can of invisible Frankel. Ring pull shop to open. Darren Darrenofsky. A shop selling just ring pulls and nothing else is opening in Mogden, it has been revealed. The shop, which will be called Ring Pulls, will sell ring pulls, and maybe bottle tops as well, but they're not sure yet. I think it's great. You can only get ring pulls off of the tops of cans at the moment, which is annoying if we not thirsty, Seymour Squelch, avid ring pull collector and the person who is opening the shop. Everyone else thinks it's a stupid idea, apart from me. Nothing my goldfish keeps happens changing what he looks like. Sharonella reports. Nothing happened again yesterday, which makes it 3 days in a row where nothing's happened. Hopefully something will happen today, but probably not. By Anton Mildew. I don't get it. That's the 3rd time my goldfish, Herman, has changed what he looks like completely. Yesterday he was fat and really old looking, and he had one eye missing from when my cat, Bernadette, scooped him out of the tank last week. Now he's thin and looks half his age and has 2 eyes. It's a miracle, Mama. I said to my mama, who I call Mama, not Mum. Please don't call me Mama, Anton. It's embarrassing. And I've seen the other mums laughing, said Mama, and I patted her on her head. Oh Mama, you are funny. I chortled, and I went back to staring at my fish. Isn't Mama a silly Billy, Herman? I smiled, and the bit of poo that had been hanging out of his bum fell off and floated to the bottom of 3 Thumb Rita and Benjamin on the tank. Something happens. Sharonella reports something happened yesterday. That's why I'm writing this story about it. OMG, it was amazing. You wouldn't believe it even if I told, which I am going to. Okay, right, well it was me and Tracy and Donatella, and we were in the toilets when this thing just suddenly happened. It was so weird. And Racy was like, you old write about this in Daily Pooh, and Donatella was behind her nodding her head, which is her way of saying totally should do. You, which is basically why I've done this story. The end? Granny stuck in photo. Writes Jocelyn Twiggs. The family of a granny believed to be trapped inside a picture frame for 3 days were surprised to find that she just popped down the shops. It turns out she was at the supermarket all along. Laughed her grandson, Stuart Schmendricks. Edith Schmendricks, 98, is well known for her marathon pop-outs, once spending a week putting the milk bottles out. Design your own paper. Here's what you've got to come up with. 1. A newspaper name. 2. A headline for your story. 3. Then write the story. 4. And draw a photo for it. Knock knock jokes. Here are Not Bird's favorite knock jokes. They're really rubbish. Knock knock. Go away. Knock knock. Arg. That's my forehead. Sorry. Knockety walkety knock knock. I don't know who's there, but you're not coming in. 1. Knock knock. Why are you saying knock knock? 2. Because I'm doing a knock knock joke. I hate those. 3. Thanks for ruining it. Doesn't care. Write your own really rubbish knock joke here. Ring pulls. I like ring pulls. I just think they're KEEL. So I always try and sneak drawings of them into my books. Here are some, turned into other things. Because I'm KEEL. Your turn. This is the book I wrote for World Book Day 2014. It's all about insects. And playing it KEEL. Knit I am a loser. Amaze KEEL news. Probably the most exciting millisecond in the history of my whole entire life on earth, amen, was the other day after school when my mum called me into the kitchen. Look at this, she said, holding up the Mobden Gazette. Fico's supermarkets are bringing out a new shampoo and they're looking for 3 kids to be in the advert. You could audition with Bunky and Nancy. I jumped in the air and did a dance, and my trousers fell down. Then I picked up the phone and dialed my best friend Bunky's number, which I'm jealous of because it's better than mine. Bunky! Have you heard? I screamed when he answered. What, have I heard your voice? Said Bunky, cracking up at his own stupid joke, but just ignored him and carried on with what I was saying. No, you complete loseroid, they're auditioning for a shampoo advert at Fico's tomorrow. I snort lead, almost weeing myself with excitement. I was jiggling around the kitchen like my mom when she dances to the radio, probably because I actually did need a real life wee really badly. KEEL, said Bunky, which is what me and Bunky say instead of cool, mostly because it's Keeler, but also because it's what they say in our favorite TV show, Future Rat Boy. I hung up on Bunky and dialed Nancy Verkenwerken's number, which I'm also jealous of, but not as much as Bunky's. Nancy! Have you heard? I said when she answered, except it wasn't Nancy, it was her dad. Nancy's round at Bunky's, said Mr. Verkenwerken, so I hung up and phoned Bunky again, jealous of his number and because Nancy was there. What's Nancy doing round your house without me? I shouted when Bunky answered the phone, except it wasn't Bunky, it was Nancy. I popped in. I do live next door to him, you know, said Nancy, but I just ignored her and carried on with what was saying. Yeah, well, did he tell you the Amaze KEEL news? I said, stretching the phone cord so I could go for a wee in the toilet, which was across the hall from where I was standing in the kitchen. Yeah, it's KEEL, said Nancy, completely copying what me and Bunky say. Suddenly and boringly my mum walked down the hall, carrying a pile of dirty washing. Arg, she screamed, tripping over the phone cord. The phone flew out of my hand and twizzled round like a ballerina. See you at Fico's tomorrow morning. 8 o'clock sharp. I shouted, we going everywhere, not that I cared because I was going to be in a shampoo advert. Best mood ever. The next morning I sprang out of bed like there was a spring springing me out of it. I looked at the mattress and saw a massive spring springing out of the sheet and realized that a real-life spring had actually sprung me out. I chuckled to myself, jumping into the shower with a spring in my step, thinking how it was the first day of spring, which is my favorite season ever, even though I hate the word spring and try not to say it all that much if possible. What's going on here? Said my mum when I came downstairs with my hair all washed and shiny. I think she was a bit surprised, seeing as I usually only have about one shower every 8 million years. I have to look my best for the shampoo advert, I said, and my mum did her smile she does when she thinks I'm the best son ever, which I am. Ooh, my snuggly little snooky flumps, she warbled, giving me a cuddle, which I wriggled out of even though I secretly quite liked it. Then I skateboarded off to Fico's supermarket, going extra fast because of all the excitement turbo blow-offs was doing. What a lovely day. Barry, shouted Bunky as I skateboarded up to Fico's playing at KEEL times 1.75 billion. He was halfway down the queue of kids, which was caterpillaring round the building like one of those long wriggly insect things I can never remember the name of. You made it! I smiled, my hair glistening in the sunshine. Nancy strolled up and picked a flower that was growing out of a crack in the pavement, and I gave her a triple reverse upside down salute. Which is what I do when I'm in the best mood ever. Lovely day, isn't it? She beamed, sniffing on the flower and sneezing into my face. The sun was beaming in the sky even more than Nancy, and Bunky pulled out a pair of future Rat Boy sunglasses. Oh my days. I am loving your shades, Bunky, said an annoying voice from behind me that sounded just like Sharonella's from our class at school. I turned round and did a blow-off out of shock, because it actually was Sharonella, not that I should have been all that surprised, seeing as the voice had sounded exactly like hers. Hello, Darren fans, said Darren Darrenovsky, who I hadn't spotted because he was standing behind Sharonella, and I did another blow-off because of how annoying he is too. Next 5 kids, shouted a spotty fat man holding a clipboard, and we shuffled into Fico's supermarket, me first because I'm the best. The storeroom. This way, shouted the clipboard man, walking us through Fico's, which was full of grannies and granddads doing their boring old Saturday morning shopping. Right at the back of the store was an enormous metal door with a yellow knit shampoo poster on it saying auditions here. Knit shampoo? You didn't say it was for NIT shampoo, said Bunky, pointing at the poster, then poking me in the nose with the finger he'd just been pointing at the poster with. Oh well, we're here now. I smiled, thinking how I should be in a good mood more often, and I pushed the door open and walked through. We were in the storeroom, which was like a whole nother Fico's, except much colder and without any customers. It had all the same stuff stacked up in cardboard boxes, on shelves 8 million times the height of normal ones. The clipboard man walked us over to the shampoo aisle and told us to wait there, then walked off again, his footsteps echoing. It was boring just standing there waiting, so I stuck my hand into a cardboard box and pulled out a bottle of Fico's cherry shampoo. I covered the sham bit with my finger and put on my advert face. Fico's cherry poo. I snort-led, and Bunky and Nancy weed themselves with laughter. That boy! The one with the hair, growled a voice out of nowhere, and I spotted a man with an unlit cigar hanging out of his mouth, pointing at me. He's perfect! I'm not used to people saying I'm perfect, so I jumped in the air and did a dance, and my trousers fell down. Little old keelness me? I smiled, copying what future Rat Boy said when he won Keelest Person Ever on the TV Awards last year. The clipboard man walked over and bent down. The director would like to see you first, he whispered in my ear, his voice going right through my brain and out the other ear, into one of Nancy's. What about me and Bunky? Nancy said, looking